LoreWarrior Aerotech. STU-K5 Stuka. Overview. Lycum Intro Technologies is one of the few firms that could compete for a contract to construct a heavy aerospace fighter to support the Star League armies. Their design was a sleek craft, strong in firepower and durability, known today as the STU-K5 or Stuka class heavy fighter. The K1 prototype of this fighter rolled off the assembly line in the Lycum plant on the planet Demeter in 2530. Full production began soon after, with the plant working at full output until House Lau bombed it during the height of the First Succession War. Modifications to the K1 and K2 prototypes were introduced during production to resolve difficulties with heat dissipation and structural instability of the heavy wings supporting the twin weapon pods. These modifications appeared in the K5 class, by far the most widely seen of the vessel. Capabilities. Many pilots consider the Stuka a dream come true, as it supports 30 heat sinks, more than almost any other design currently in use by the successor state. The Stuka is capable of maximum use of its firepower for a prolonged period of time in combat. The Stuka's Monitor 200 guidance system makes it a graceful vessel. Despite its size, it can perform like a medium-weight craft in many situations. The fighter has more than ample armor protection for its structural integrity, as well as its weapon systems. It also carries 1 ton of ammunition for both the LRM and SRM systems. The modifications to increase the armor and heat sinks have reduced the overall firepower of this aerospace fighter, however. Though it's still armed with a variety of long and short-range weapons, these are limited in number, leaving the Stuka outgunned by several medium fighters. The smaller craft lack the armor protection or the heatsink capacity of the Stuka, however. Thus, in prolonged engagements, the Stuka can easily emerge the victor over some better armed foes. Battle history. House Davian managed to maintain a monopoly on Stuka production, and so very few ever made their way into the hands of other House Lords. Then, after the First Succession War ruined the industrial base needed to mass-produce such craft, the maintenance of the few heavy fighters already on hand became of paramount concern. When Curitan forces made their first landing on the planet Quentin in 2899, they met with a stunning response. Unknown to Curita's intelligence, there was a Davian airbase stocked with 10 Stukas and many smaller craft hidden on the planet. When elements of the old 15th Sword of Light attempted to drop, they found themselves in a deep trap. The Stukas bore down on the dropships in orbit, flying through the hail of fire, cutting to shreds both the ships and their cargo of battle mechs. Few of the Curita forces escaped, and eventually the 15th was dissolved due to a lack of manpower. The Stukas assigned to Davian's Avalon Hussars 17th Regiment were given a rare opportunity at bombing and strafing duty on the planet Lincoln in 2930. While smaller support fighters took on the Lau defenders, a wing group of 8 Stukas dove down onto the planet, strafing the battlefields and the Lau mechs on them. This sudden rain of firepower led to several Davian advances on the attacking fronts. During 2999, House Davian leaked information to Curita spies that a flight of Stukas operating near the Davian-Curita border were missing, leaving the planet Kasai virtually undefended. In hope of catching the planet off guard, House Curita carried out a daring strike against the world. In reality, the Davian fighters had been relocated to a small supply base in the system's far-flung asteroid belt. They had created the false rumour as bait to lure a Curita attack, and it worked. While the Curita forces bombed the empty airfield, the Stukas moved in from the rear, catching the Curita fighters low on fuel and ammunition, the Stukas being able to destroy near 20 craft, mostly of smaller weight. In 3004, a Curita convoy managed to capture a crippled Stuka near the planet Hoth. Fully repaired, this craft later appeared in a fire support group for Wolf's Dragoons, a mercenary unit in service to Curita at the time. The craft had been painted black and refitted with slightly more firepower. Variants. House Davian has modified the STU-K5 several times during its long and distinguished career. One of these versions, the K10, replaces the Martel medium lasers and the SRM 4-pack with 2 more heatsinks and 4 small Exostar lasers. This version is used primarily by the Draconis March militia. Another Davian variant that's seen occasionally is the K15. Limited in number and unpopular with its pilots, this variant reduced its armour by 3 ton to add 6 small lasers to the weaponry. A smaller, lighter fighter that is often mistaken for the Stuka is the Lightning, which was engineered from a similar airframe. Many pilots had been caught by surprise when they mistook their opponent's image on the view screen for a Lightning, only to find out too late that it was more than double the size and a Stuka. Notable fighters and pilots. Captain Carl Stevens. Stevens is a pilot of a Stuka named Carl's Crusher, attached to the Seti Hussars 1st Regiment. Karl is older than many pilots in the Davian forces and has turned down several prestigious positions within the Aerospace Planning Council to continue flying his Stuka. He's scored more than 50 combat kills, but claims that most of the credit belongs to his machine, not to his skill. Those who have flown with him disagree strongly, however. Lieutenant Mark Allen. Though not a Stuka pilot at the time of the daring Kasai trap, Mark was promoted to one after his performance with smaller fighters during the ambush. Mark also performed well within several other units to which he was formerly attached, such as the Avalon Hussars and the Syrtis Fusiliers. He and his Stuka are currently involved with the NAIS training cadre, where he's considered one of the most skilled and professional pilots. Aerospace pilot James Dugan. James is currently a pilot employed by Wulf's Dragoons, and is one of very few non-Davian pilots to operate a Stuka. His all-black Stuka, the Dark Death, was captured by Kurita forces and given to the Dragoons. His main claim to fame rests on being a non-Davian Stuka pilot. However, as Dugan's kill records since joining the Dragoons is only fair.